Hello and welcome to the Empowered Couples Podcast, where here you get modern, non-boring relationship advice for you and your partner to communicate like pros, fight smarter, and stay on the same team no matter the challenge that you face. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Freeman.
And I'm Jocelyn Freeman, but you all just know us as the Freemans.
And today's episode is the myth of I shouldn't have to tell them because it takes the romance out.
This is key. This is one I had to work through personally, thinking it's not romantic if I have to tell you to do it.
So this is probably what has happened for you at least once, maybe multiple times, hence why we want to really myth bust this whole idea. Okay, so the story goes for many partners, and really check if this is you, there is something that you want or you need in a relationship, and then you think, I shouldn't have to tell them because then it's not thoughtful or romantic if they then do it. Sometimes you can think, or if they cared, they would just know.
Right.
Then the thing that you want or need doesn't happen. It's like, we laugh, but let's stay with how this cycle goes. It doesn't happen, and then you get disappointed. Now, you either tell them because you're now upset, and we'll give you some good examples. You forgot my birthday, that wasn't fun enough, you didn't get me any flowers. So you tell them and it becomes an upset. Or you don't say anything and it comes out later as a reaction and starts an argument seemingly about something else.
Right, exactly. You said that cycle so perfectly, and actually I had flashbacks to previous relationships where I did this. I really did believe that if they cared enough, or if it was really going to be romantic and special, it had to be their idea. I shouldn't have to tell them.
Yeah.
Like, if you really loved me enough, you would just know on a Wednesday I want flowers.
And I've honestly heard so many times that the romance is gone. We've been together long enough. You should be thoughtful. You should be thinking about me. You don't care if you're not anticipating my needs and wants. So I'm not going to tell you. So it becomes this thing like, if you think about it, it's really a lose-lose for you when you don't share it, all because of this, what I think is a false belief, this myth that by sharing it, it's not going to be romantic, and then it puts you in this whole cycle.
Yes.
So why do that? That's what we want to really dive into today.
Yeah, and as I go into explaining a little more context here, think for yourself, what is something that recently or upcoming you kind of wished your partner would have thought to do? Get you flowers. That I hear that often from people. Plan, Mother's Day is coming up. I really hope they plan something special for Mother's Day, or I hope they know I want this gift, or your birthday is coming up. My birthday is actually coming up too. I could just be sitting here, I really hope, because it's my birthday, my 35th birthday, he's going to plan a party. And then I could not tell you that, then be really bummed that day if you, maybe planned us dinner, but I was expecting, a party. So
one that I heard recently from a couple we were coaching, I wanted to give something different than just like a gift thing.
Yeah.
They were not feeling well. They were kind of sick, and they expected their partner that is, to support them, to take care of them, to nurture them, and some sort of vague interpretation for them of like chicken noodle soup and making them some food.
Yeah.
Getting them like a cold towel if they needed, like something like that.
Yeah.
But same scenario. Oh, I shouldn't have to tell them that I want to be taken care of when I'm sick.
I wish they'd plan a vacation for us. I wish they'd schedule a date for us. Whatever it is, right? Put that in your mind. You have to think about seasons of a relationship. So you can compare your relationship now to how it used to be, which is what a lot of people do. Well, in the beginning, you did just bring me flowers.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you did just plan a date. But if you think about it in the beginning, as human beings, there's a lot of incentive and drive to go above and beyond in the beginning. Like, that's part of the nature of dating, courting the person, right? Is you don't just make them dinner, you're dressed up making them dinner, right? You've got the music on, the candles.
Yeah, you got a violinist.
Yeah, right. You're going above and beyond because that's, again, it's part of the like incentive and drive. Now, naturally, again, like it's part of a natural thing as humans, as you get more comfortable and in a rhythm, especially if you get married and then you're together for more than a couple years, you get into a little bit of a comfort zone and your thoughts transition from how do I kind of get this person to like me and be with me to how do we kind of get through life together? What do the kids need? What's needed around the house? What, errands do we have to run? And so your partner's thinking is now different. It doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean they don't care or that they want to do things that are special for you. But a lot of their thoughts are probably consumed with kind of what's going on for me right now. What does the baby need, right? What do we have to do? Like all of these more kind of management of life thoughts.
Well, I wanted to say that before you went on. That's exactly how I was thinking about this as well. Now, for any of you listening, we're not giving you an excuse to not be thoughtful
Right.
and to not think of your partner. Now, we have some steps here that are going to blend this together. But when I was thinking about this, the difference between dating and engaged, it's not that you're like less thoughtful. It's everything you said. But if you think about it, you, as you've been married for a few years, you have many more dynamic and what some would categorize as complex dynamics of activity, of life management, of task management, from paying the bills, managing the house, getting kids ready to go, food, like surviving, creating time for leisure and play. So you actually have so much more intertwined as two human beings and a lot more to manage together than when you are dating and in that early engaged phase, because you really haven't not only blended a life together, but you haven't gone through as many things as you have when you're married, that now there's just a lot more dealings. There's also your own past. There's triggers. There are beliefs. I mean, there's just all the things that we talk about, expectations. Those become part of what needs to be navigated. And that's a much different type of relationship than it is in the beginning. And it's not wrong.
Right. It's just different. It's
That's
the
right.
seasons. It's
That's
the
right.
stages. And before we go into kind of some specific things to think about, to, do with this topic, also reflect on where this belief and story came from for you, right?
Oh, yeah, good point.
For me, I really did compare my partners to what I saw in the movies. Well, in the movie I watched, this awesome rom-com, he got a horse, a carriage, took her to dinner, had flowers ready. And I know
You
sounds
can
like...
tell the time period of movies that Jocelyn watches.
I know that
They
sounds
got
like...
me a castle.
No, like, in New York, a horse-drawn carriage. And I know that's an extreme example. But again, like, you would just see these big gestures of love, of romance. And then I would compare my partner and be like, kind of, well, I must not be good enough, or they must not love me as much, but what I realized, and this is kind of just like a little bonus mindset principle, is maybe this is talking more to the women, is that your partner may not have the same blueprint as you. Like, for example, you, who knows why, don't like spontaneously think of getting flowers. And that's just, I don't take offense to that. That's just not a part of your blueprint. Now, are there men out there where they do? Like, it's kind of like part of their, maybe they saw their mom or their dad do it every week. And so it's kind of part of their blueprint is like, oh, get my partner fresh flowers every week. And so to you, then you compare that. Well, they do it. Well, it might not be the same, thought or value to your partner. And that doesn't mean anything about how they care about you or not. So I did tell you this weekend, hey, when you go to the store for us, because now that we have a baby, he's been doing it a lot more. I would love if you'd pick up fresh flowers each week. Now, surprise me what they look like. And then he does it. And does it feel just as special? Yes. I walk into the kitchen. Oh, I love these ones. And I cut them and put them out. Now, I told you that would mean something to me. Does that make it less romantic? No. You listened and you fulfilled on what I wanted.
So such a great example, and you have been doing such a good job. Let's break down the three aspects that I see and the three aspects that we want to invite you into doing differently that also kind of break this myth open. Because as you mentioned, you still saw my actions of getting you flowers as thoughtful or romantic ish. So let's dive into this. First of all, if you've been listening to us for any amount of time, even more recently, web class that we did, couples workshop coming up this weekend, by the way, assertiveness is so huge. And recap, assertiveness is not verbalizing your complaints. And a lot of times that's what ends up happening when you are disappointed, when you haven't shared what you need or want. Eventually, your level of assertiveness is actually just verbalizing your complaints.
And that would look like looking at your phone, someone's on a vacation, and you look at your partner and say, oh, they planned a vacation together. You don't plan vacations for me.
When's the last time you got me flowers?
Right.
You haven't been initiating sex and intimacy. So it comes off as a complaint. Now, assertiveness is actually clearly asking for what you want or what you need, but we'll add this piece in because you can go into further episodes about how to be more assertive. But in this case, also sharing why that is important to you, right? So the principle here is the positive intent. Share the positive intent as to why that need or want is important to you. That's a big part of assertiveness.
Yeah. Oh, I think it is huge, and it doesn't make it any less special. I promise you. You know, another example just from our personal life, my birthday's coming up, Mother's Day is coming up. I told you what would be meaningful to me, you know, and then you're adding your elements of surprise to it and different things that I'm not, you know, going to be able to expect. But when you're assertive, I mean, it sets your partner up for success. Don't you want your partner to be set up for success? Don't you want them to feel as though they have insight into what you're thinking and what you're wanting? I would hope so.
So to do that, you have to share.
Yes.
You have to assert. So the second piece that I would say you don't even get if in your own mind, the romantic setting where your partner anticipates every need and they're super thoughtful and all of that, they bring you, you know what it reminds me of? The Netflix stand-up comedy about Amazon Prime Now.
Oh my gosh, so good.
So if you guys haven't watched that, it's Ronnie Chang, I believe. He was in Crazy Rich Asians. So this is a little aside. Sorry about this. But he ends up talking about Amazon Prime Now, and it's like same day is like not enough, and then hour, and then break into my house and put the food in my mouth and chew it for me. But then he ends up saying, where do we go from here? Well, there's Amazon Prime that intuits and brings you what you want even before you know what you want.
It's such a good, you guys
So
have to
it's
watch
so funny. That's kind of your idea of your partner. They intuit. They're like this Amazon Prime AI future.
Yeah.
But,
I know that they are going to want this right now.
yeah. All right. So where was I going with this? Even if that was happening, I don't believe it gets to the second point. If you assert yourself, ask for what you need and want, you share the positive intent why, then when your partner does it, you know that they listened to you, they remembered, which gives you the sense of, wow, they listened to me, they care because they remembered, and then they did it. So it becomes a part of what we would call, or personal development calls, integrity. So your partner said they were going to do it, and they did it. What this does is build trust.
Yes.
And in your movie, romantic setting, Amazon Prime, AI, intuitive, you actually don't get the build of trust. Maybe you do get that sweeping sort of romantic setting every once in a while, but in this case, when you assert yourself, the possibility that it is for your partner is to actually build trust.
Yes. And I want to refer some of you, because I know that some of you might be thinking, well, I've told my partner before that X, Y, or Z would, you know, be meaningful to me, and they didn't do it, or they forgot. I get that that's something they need to work on. And so together, I would recommend listening to episode 177, which is about reliability and follow through, because that is key. And it takes two to tango. So maybe a reminder is important for your partner, or sharing, like you said in the first point, the why it matters to you. If they understand more of the why, perhaps that will add to their follow through and reliability. But if you do feel like you vocalize these things, they don't follow through, they forget, then I think listening to episode 177 about reliability and follow through would be greatly beneficial.
Let me just add the third point in here, and then you can riff however you would like. Then there's the loving and caring part. And I think that's one of the main aspects that partners are looking for. That feeling of romance, that feeling of thoughtfulness really is that desire to feel cared for, to feel loved and supported, right? So if the thing that you desire, need, or want becomes something that is on a more frequent basis. So take Jocelyn's example of the flowers. So right, this is going to be maybe slightly different than the birthday setting or Mother's Day setting, although that could be on a yearly basis, obviously. But if it's more frequent, like flowers, if you were like, I would like flowers once a week or once a month, then you don't have to keep asking them over and over. But imagine you asserted yourself like a couple of times and then they did it. And again, if it's frequent, they keep on remembering, then it's going to feel romantic. Now, you're not necessarily even thinking about it for yourself all the time, but this allows them to be thoughtful. This allows them to sort of intuit because they keep on doing it because you've asked. Now, wouldn't you feel loved? Wouldn't you feel cared for? But at the same time, similar like that I have this freedom, your partner also has the freedom to make some surprises or adjustments. Like for me, choose the type of flower, choose the color. It also allows me to, I don't know, find different things that go with the flowers, right? So there's this space to, you could say, increase the thoughtfulness.
Yeah. I'd also say that structure can be beneficial together for this. So let's say it is about dates and you wish your partner would plan dates for you. But again, management of life and being busy, it's not maybe top of mind for them. Well, instead of it being all on them and they just need to magically remember, put some structure to it. For example, maybe it's either once a month or every other week. It's in the calendar. Every Saturday afternoon or every Sunday night, right? Whenever it is, and you alternate planning. So, all right, this weekend is my turn to plan the surprise. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what to wear.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks, it's your turn. Or again, you could do every other month if that's what your schedule allows. Now, is it less romantic because you have it in the calendar? No, it's actually the romance comes from the little aspects of surprising each other. You don't know what you're going to do and you're following through on it. So you have to somewhat redefine what romance means, especially in a long-term committed marriage where, again, there's all those complexities. Romance is going to look different. It might be in the calendar, but there's a special way that you can add your own twist and surprise each other still. And it's about the fact that, like you said with this third point, it's that they care. That's what's romantic. So I think it's a big part is redefining what romance means to you and setting each other up for success, like. Oh,
well, bigger than that, telling them.
Yes.
Asserting yourself. Don't let this just go by because you're only going to leave yourself open for disappointment. Then you're either going to express your disappointment and complaint about it or you're going to hold it in and it's just going to show up sometime later. We've all said before, you're never upset for the reason you think you are.
Yep.
Why would I talk about how the dishes get put in the top? Why would I complain about the messiness in the kitchen? Well, all of that is a deeper thing. My partner doesn't care for me. They don't follow through. They aren't thoughtful anymore. See, that's coming from all of your unexpressed, non-asserting what you need and want and just holding it in. So you just are going to react to totally unrelated situations because it's kind of your own fault. You're building within yourself this feeling of they don't love me, they don't care for me, something we call projections.
Yeah, and we know that for some of you, maybe there's less room for feeling romantic and surprising each other because maybe there's a buildup of resentment or you've really been having communication challenges. And so if you know you need to clear out some clutter and be able to come back to some of this more fun and romance and things like that, then schedule a breakthrough session with us. April filled up. It's been awesome how many of you have been scheduling sessions with us. May, we're opening up a few slots. So if you want to do a 2-on-2 breakthrough session with us where we take you through a proven process to get you through a recurring challenge in your relationship, just go to meetthefreemans.com/coaching and you will see some of the details and where to schedule. We just have a few slots open for May and we would love to support you in finally overcoming that challenge. With that, everyone, you're going to love the episodes coming up. We've got some spicy content coming to you too. And so make sure you're staying tuned in. We love you all and we will talk to you on the next episode.